Namaste. We look at practicing Sama Vritti Pranayam. Sama means same, Vritti, fluctuations of the mind. We look at balancing the inhalation and the exhalation so we can make the mind more calm and we can find more space in the mind. We're going to add retention. First, we cultivate our breath, then we add a count, and then we add a retention to the breath. It's important that when we get to add retention to the breath for pranayam, that we are first comfortable with controlling the breath and with getting the breath to be long, calm, so we don't disturb prana, we don't disturb the mind. So if you need to stay without the retention of the breath, or if you feel at any point that you're creating tension in the breath or tension in the body, that you let go of the retention, or you can even let go of the count and just return to a natural breath and observe that natural breath. You can go back and practice other videos that I have that can help you prepare for this. So for Sama Vritti Pranayam, we want to find a comfortable seat, a seat that invites us to keep the spine straight. You can sit on a cushion, on a bolster, or a pillow to elevate the hips so the knees are more supported. If you're sitting in a chair, just make sure that you're not reclining on the back of the chair, that you're actually keeping your back straight and your feet grounded on the earth. Now, allowing the eyes to close down. Some people might not be comfortable closing the eyes, so feel free to find a half gaze instead, where you rest your gaze on the floor, on the earth. And let's just begin to connect to belly breaths. So allowing the belly to become soft without contracting the belly, so the inhalation can invite the belly to expand as we use the diaphragm to breathe. And then with the exhalation, that is this gentle contraction of the belly, draw the belly button in towards the spine. Breathing in, relaxing the belly, letting the belly expand. And then as you exhale, allow the belly to contract. And let this contraction be gentle and natural. Breathing in through the nose, expanding the belly, filling the lungs to their full capacity, maybe even getting the breath to fill belly, ribcage, and chest. And then as you exhale, contracting the ribcage, the chest, ribcage, and belly. Or if you're just staying with belly breaths, letting the belly contract. But making sure that you are inviting a really long and deep inhalation and a long and deep exhalation. Making sure that the breath is soundless and is long. We don't want to make it short. And take a moment to acknowledge here the quality of each breath. The quality of the inhalation and the quality of the exhalation. Now we start to add a count to our breath. So let's take an inhalation together and an exhalation together. And now we inhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale 4, 3, 2, 1. In 4, 3, 2, 1. Out 4, 3, 2, 1. In 4, 3, 2, 1, out. 4, 3, 2, 1, in. 4, 3, 2, 1, out for 4, 3, 2, 1. Continue on your own count. Inhaling for the count of 4 without the breath being stoppy, and exhaling for the count of 4, making sure the exhalation is fluid. So you want the inhale to be fluid and you want the exhale to be fluid. You want to make sure that while you count into 4, the breath is taking all the count. So it's not that we stop in halfway. Same with the exhalation. If you start to notice that the inhale stops before you finish the count, or the exhalation stops before you finish the count, then make the count shorter. The more that you practice, the longer the breath becomes. Now, if you've been practicing for some time and you feel you have more space, then change the count. Maybe the count is up to 5 or 6 or 7 or even 8. Just make sure that the inhale and the exhale are the same count. We want to balance the breath. We want to balance the inhale and balance the exhalation. Make sure that your breath is not staying only in your chest. Ground the breath. Use the full capacity of the lungs. Use the diaphragm to breathe. Expansion with the breath in and contraction with the breath out. Don't let the breath be stoppy. Let it be fluid and let it be calm. Make sure that the count that you have is not creating any tension in the breath, that you're not forcing the count. This is something that we work to get to longer counts as we practice, as we create more space in the lungs, as we strengthen our respiratory organs, the organs that are involved in breathing. Make sure that you find a count that feels comfortable and that you're able to connect to a rhythm. So once we find a rhythm, we allow the mind to start to become really present in that rhythm, start to get very calm in that rhythm, inviting more meditative states as we find a fluid breath. Now, if you're comfortable with the count and you're comfortable with the breath, you can start to add a retention at the top and at the bottom of the breath. So if you're inhaling for 4, you hold the breath for 4 after the inhalation. And then you exhale for 4 and you add a retention at the bottom of the breath after the exhale for 4 counts. And then you inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4, hold for 4. Now, if you chose an account that is really long, like 8 counts, and you get to the retention and it's too much, then we shorter the count. Come back and start with 4. See how it feels. If you need to shorter the count, you count to 3. If you find more space, then you take it up to 5, 6, 7, 8. But because our breath is unique and we have different practices, I want you to take your own count, knowing that we progressively work to a longer count, a longer retention, a longer breath. But it comes with time. We don't force it. We don't want to disturb the mind. We don't want to feel tired after the practice. We want to do completely the opposite. Now you're going to take 3 more cycles wherever you are with the pause or not pause, with the retention or no retention. Kumbhaka. Continue with your own count for the last 3 cycles of breath, making sure your spine is straight and shoulders are relaxed. Continuing with a breath that is not staying only in the chest, that you use in your belly. It can be belly breaths, it can be 3-part breaths. And once you finish your last 3 cycles of breath, you let go of the count, you let go of the technique, and you just stay with belly breaths or a breath that feels natural to you, that is going to invite you to return to the natural internal rhythms. And just notice any changes. Maybe you feel more spacious in the physical body. Maybe the breath feels more spacious. The mind is focused and present. And as we invite in more prana, more life force energy to the brain and the organs, the mind might feel more clear and concentrated. And let your hands come together in front of the heart. Let your head bow towards the heart. And thank yourself for practicing, for taking the moment to reconnect to your breath. Namaste.